Shelby, where's she? That's a nice one. Wow, good. 40. Pretty good. Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving week. I know people are starting to think what travel's going to look like. Again, this would be my public service announcements. We're going to get our first significant snow, certainly here and then in North Country. Slow down, be careful. The plows will be out, but it's that time of year. But it's also that time of year to think about family coming home and spending that time on Thanksgiving. Of course, the centerpiece of the Thanksgiving tradition is the meal, the bounty that we have as Minnesotans and as Americans to share that meal. And at the heart of it is, of course, turkeys. And this is such an important industry. We were talking about it, but these are family businesses. About 600 farms raise more turkeys in this state than any other state. We produce about 16% of all the turkeys produced across the country. So pretty good chance most folks are going to have that turkey be a Minnesota turkey, and we're incredibly proud of that. It generates about $1 billion of economic activity and, of course, supports these incredible family farms and our rural communities that support them. So we're excited about what that means, but we're also very cognizant. It's a challenging time in farm country right now. Many of these folks also are grain producers, and we understand that those challenges are real. Grateful to the Department of Ag, Commissioner Peterson, being out there with resources, being out there with help for folks as they're seeing some of the financial strains that go with it. Also with the recognition you're going to hear from Sarah at Second Harvest, talking about the issue of folks that are hungry and making sure we're able to get the resources out. Earlier this year, this fall we put out $4 million into the food banks and the food shelves, into the pantries. Grateful to Minnesota's generosity that we've seen on Give to the Max Day. I know a lot of them went to these organizations. And that, coupled with the policies that we put in place through the legislature and into law, the stability and the certainty of school meals for families, the child tax credit that put a little more money back in people's pockets, and the work that was done on the programs that support that. So I think at a time when we want folks to celebrate, we want them to be thankful, we want them to enjoy this time with family, Minnesotans always put a little bit of extra into helping others, and I think that's what today is about. So we were celebrating a great industry, we're celebrating a partnership to feed not just Minnesotans but the country and the world, up against a backdrop of economically a bit challenging times, but in Minnesota again, just really grateful for this. I'm going to turn it over, and you're going to hear from Butch a little bit. You'll hear from the turkey growers, folks that actually grow these turkeys, and of course the highlight of this is when Shelby gets to present Gru to us, who is the star of the show. And I was just hearing 45-plus pound turkey is a big turkey. Get an opportunity to see what these producers do and how we get the opportunity on Thursday to have this incredible meal. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Butch to say a few words. And his helper. So,
okay. Good morning. I am Butch Bry, and I have the honor as serving as president of the Minnesota Turkey and Research and Promotion Council. For more than 3 decades, my family and I have been part of Minnesota turkey industry at our farm near Sleepy Eye, Minnesota. I independently raise about 20,000 breeder hens each year, and I can tell you, while it's not always easy, there's nothing else I would rather do. Governor Walz, Commissioner Peterson, thank you for taking the time to meet with us today. Your presence means a great deal to our families who make up this industry. Since 1939, our organization has represented the men and women who raise turkeys across this state. As you've heard, Minnesota remains #1 in the nation for turkey production, with just over 400 working turkey farmers, from first-generation growers to families who have been raising turkeys in Minnesota for more than 6 generations. What truly sets Minnesota apart is our strong network of independent growers, more than any other state in the country. We're also home to 3 outstanding processing plants, Genio Turkey Store Wilmer, Turkey Valley in Marshall, and Northern Pride in Thief River Falls. Together they help bring Minnesota raised turkeys to the tables across the nation. I hope you'll take a moment to look at the display of turkey products here today. It highlights the variety and quality of what's being raised and produced in Minnesota. But what you can't see is the pride and commitment behind every single item on those shelves. Minnesota's farmers and food companies work side by side to provide one of the safest and most affordable food supplies in the world. And as long as we keep working together, I'm confident we'll continue that tradition for yet generations to come. That is something we can all be very grateful for. It is now my pleasure to introduce fellow turkey farmer and a strong voice for our industry, Jake Valamic.
Hi, good morning. My name is Jake Valamic. I currently serve as president of the Minnesota Turkey Growers Association. My family and I own and operate Fallon Farms over by Lake Lillian, Minnesota. We raise turkeys year-round. It's truly an honor to serve the industry as so motivated to give back. In Minnesota, turkey means family. From the 400 families who raise turkeys across the state to the families who gather around turkey on Thanksgiving and throughout the year. This industry touches every corner of Minnesota, whether it's through our jobs that we support, the food we provide, or the economic strength created across the supply chain. Turkey connects us. It's part of who we are. And with that comes responsibility to give back. Minnesota's turkey farmers believe so deeply, believe in this very deeply. So this year we've humbly donated $10,000 worth of turkey products to Second Harvest Heartland. This food has already made its way to the food banks and families across Minnesota. Our hope is simple, that with the help of Second Harvest, more Minnesotans will have the chance to enjoy turkey this Thanksgiving and beyond. I'm so proud to be joined today by Shelby Barber and her family, who raised our guest of honor in their farm near Swanville. Shelby has grown up pitching in wherever she needs to on the farm. She's in her second year of FFA, already serving leadership roles and competing on her poultry, it's CDE, it stands for Career Development Events. She's at state conventions. Shelby wanted to raise this year's governor's turkey because she wanted to represent the turkey growers from her community in a meaningful way. Shelby started this adventure with 4 tom turkeys, caring for them daily and training them how to behave in public. As they grew, the birds got older and larger. She narrowed the group down to 2 and eventually selecting the most well-behaved turkey for today. So we're expecting a lot from the group. Her dedication reflects on the values that define this industry, and we're proud to have her with us. Now, before we bring out our guest of honor, I want to welcome Sarah from Second Harvest to the microphone to say a few words.
Good morning. I'm Sarah Moberg, and I have the privilege of leading the team at Second Harvest Heartland. And I want to thank Butch and Jake and the turkey growers for your generosity and all the work that you do for Minnesota families so that they can gather around warm meals this holiday season. And thank you, Governor Walz and Commissioner Peterson, for supporting Minnesota's Hunger Relief Network. This has been a very challenging year. So while SNAP benefits have been restored following the federal shutdown, the work is far from over. Legislation passed this summer will significantly reduce benefits for many Minnesota families at a time when economic challenges are already making it harder to afford food. But the resiliency and the generosity of this state provides hope. The turkey growers donated hundreds of turkeys to a distribution in Minneapolis last week at one of our partner food shelves. And we got to hear firsthand from families about the difference that it was making for their holiday season. Volunteers have been filling shifts at our facility in Brooklyn Park, and the food shelves we support are seeing similar warmth and effort from communities all over Minnesota. We're also grateful to have Governor Walz as a champion for this cause. He knows that it will take longer-term investments in our hunger relief network if we're going to turn the tide. And in the meantime, Second Harvest Heartland and our partners will continue to do everything we can to get more food into communities and address the current hunger surge. Food insecurity exists in every corner of our state. We need more partnerships just like this one that reach across agriculture, state government, and hunger relief to ensure that every Minnesotan has the food they need this holiday season and beyond.
Thanks, Sarah. I think at this time, Shelby, I think we're ready. Let's present this bird. Holy smokes.
He opened it himself.
45 pounds. Is that what you said, Shelby?
45 or over.
Or over. Here we go. Shelby, you want to tell them? Name here, present your bird.
This is Brew. He is a tom that is about 20 weeks old. He is 45 pounds or over. And yeah.
How long did it take to go from little bird to this bird?
About 20 weeks.
Not bad. Not bad. And I appreciate the play on words. That's Gru, G-R-U.
Yep. Like from Despicable Me.
There you go. There it is. Minions.
Yep.
Have you seen that? It's great.
There we go.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that, it's showing off.
Okay, this is the most well-behaved.
Yeah, that is.
We haven't had
We
this.
never, yeah. that's-
Congratulations, Shelby. Thank you to all of our growers. Wow. Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah. All right, we get our pictures. You in here? All right. There we go. Smile.
All right, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
Wow. That's a classic. Well, we would be, we'll take some on topic. We've got some folks here. Any on topics on the turkeys, agriculture and that, and then we'll take some off topic. I'll go ahead and take some off topic after that.
Governor, I know you kind of touch on this every year, but is this a turkey party?
It is not. It's a turkey presentation. And they're big, they're beautiful, and delicious. Is that right, Shelby? So, and we're very clear about that in Minnesota. And I'll just have to say the care that these producers care for these birds and what they do to get them to market is really something to see.
Is 45-ish pounds a lot bigger than average? Like, what would be the average?
Shelby, you can come over here. You can get them. So,
For our birds, average is about mid to high 40s. Sometimes we have gotten up to about 60 pounds, but average is around mid to high 40s. Yes. So this is about average for him.
he's strutting.
He loves to show off.
This is as close as I get in turkey hunting to a turkey. I don't ever see them. So.
So what's his journey? Does he go from here to the,
After this, he will come home with us and be the main guest on our Thanksgiving table.
Well said. Well said. Well, thank you all. We'll make sure we leave the turkey. I'll go ahead. If these folks step out, I'd be glad to take some off topic as we're here. Thank you all. Shelby, congratulations. Beautiful. Thanks, Mom. We'll let them get ready. Any off topic? Good to see you all again. I just say at the top of this, we just returned Saturday afternoon, had 7 days on a trade mission accompanied by corn growers, soybean growers, dried edible bean folks, Ecolab, Mayo Clinic, Medical Alley, a lot of startups who were with us in a trade mission to Switzerland and Germany, as we at the sub-federal level making the case, and our European partners know this, we don't control federal tariff policy, but states have a lot of autonomy to be able to invest. And we've seen this since we started in 2019. The Japanese probably figured this out before anybody else. They came not out of Washington, they came to the States, and in the 6 years since Japan first made visits here, we've doubled direct foreign investment from Japan and growing. We did a Boston Scientific launch. We had Philips that came from the Netherlands, and this time we made contact with, especially in the space of ag and ag tech, clean tech, and med tech. We attended the Medica trade show, which is the world's largest in Dusseldorf, which is a medical device and medical breakthroughs trade show that is, the scope of it is simply stunning. It's the Minneapolis Civic Center full to the brim, imagine that. There are 17 halls that size and bigger, represented by nearly 70 countries and thousands of established device companies, many of them, of course, Medtronic. We spent time with 3M, who has a heavy presence right outside Dusseldorf, and made contact with the case that Minnesota is the epicenter of all three of those ag tech, clean tech, especially med tech with the Mayo Clinic, the advent of biolabs. We spent time in Berlin with the Berlin Institute of Health at Charité Hospital, which is the premier research facility in Germany, as long as folks from Paris and around Rochester, Mayo Clinic, Medical Alley, about the potential growth and the breakthroughs that are there. So it's a very successful mission. I think over the coming months you'll see those things start. It takes a little bit of time, but you'll start to see those investments come around those areas. And we're excited about that because, look, the rest of the world's depending on U.S. leadership. They are very confused at this point in time. Switzerland had a 39% tariff put on them, one of the highest in the world, and Switzerland's a highly advanced manufacturing society, and it's things that we can learn from. So we spent time with their companies. And then I had the opportunity to address some of the largest trade group, the American Chamber of Commerce, the Transatlantic Business Initiative, and then Aspen Institute put on a presentation with the German Council on Foreign Relations that we were able to address what the situation is. So highly successful. I think we'll hear from some of those, and just really proud of Minnesota kind of standing up in this space where the Europeans are looking for leadership. With that, I take any questions. Yeah.
There's going to be a vigil this evening at Basilica among people who are concerned about HUD's cuts to the continuum of care funding. I just wondered what concern is the state about the loss of the concept of housing first?
Yeah, well, very concerned, and I think we're making great progress across the spectrum of housing. Certainly, the effort has been made in a holistic approach. We've done it, the legislature, and the work that we've done out of our administration. I think we're seeing that across the board. The SNAP cuts, we see this. We still have got to, I mean, I will share this, is all of these things around people, they don't come in pieces. So it's housing, it's food security, it's health care. We still have not got an answer on the enhanced subsidies. I did see the president put out what appears to be more than a concept of a plan, a little bit about the extension of those enhanced subsidies, which I want to see how our congressional delegation rectifies with telling us that those enhanced subsidies on the ACA were the worst thing that ever happened, drove up costs, put people out, and now the president is advocating to reinstate, which they need to do, the enhanced subsidies. So yes, I'm concerned. I think they all fan together. I think the lack of focus on some of those basic programs that we know that have reduced housing insecurity has worked. That is a big bird, so huge. So please.
There's a big news conference yesterday about hemp. I'm sure you're
Yeah.
thinking about that as well. I mean, do you have any ideas about what you can do at the state level to help the
Yeah, we're exploring it, and again, I think this is the problem when you had, you know, the big bill come out that no one was, this was a surprise to everyone that this would be in there. I think we have a thriving industry. While it's new, we're starting to see now that I think our regulatory process, I think everything around, and this is of course on the cannabis side of things, but hemp adjacent where we've had the opportunities, it's very disruptive. So I think at this point in time, we certainly welcome that industry. We welcome the work that had been done, and listening to the folks who are in this, this came out of left field to them, unprepared for it, and I think we're still trying to understand what that means. Yes? Yep.
taken some pretty bold steps recently
Yes.
to prevent fraud, to create stronger safeguards. But I want to ask you a historical question. If you look back at the chronology of how some of these cases came about, one feature you see is there were instances in which the perpetrators of these schemes used allegations of fraud, allegations of racism to beat back questions and accountability. I'm wondering, as you look back historically, what role you think the post-George Floyd era politics played in the government's response, and whether you think in some instances it inhibited Democrats from acting more forcefully?
Yeah. Well, this is a thoughtful question. I appreciate it. It's one to first and foremost, the fraud undermines trust in government. It undermines programs that are absolutely critical in improving quality of life. There's a reason Minnesota ranks near the top in all categories on quality of life. And when it comes to fiscal responsibility in all the other areas, again, we rank as a top state in AAA bond rated, about long-term stability, about tackling, which we did collectively together. But the fraud undermines that. And I think the idea of attacking this, getting the tools to do it, the post-COVID world did several things. One is there was a lot more money put out there with a lot less safeguards around it as they were crafted. And now, as we're trying to stop these things, it's painful for some. It's painful because we're going to have to. We know that there's folks that didn't participate in this fraud that are being hurt by it. But I think this question of racism came up. I think we all know there was an incidence of a dinner that was held that was celebrating and an attack on the Commissioner of Education. And from our perspective in government, it doesn't matter the nationality, the religion, or whatever it is. These are criminals who need to be pursued and need to be stopped. But I hear you, and I hear where people are at. Is this targeting certain communities, whatever? Certainly from our perspective, we are targeting criminals. And wherever they come from and wherever they're at, they are going to be punished. They are going to go to prison. We saw a lengthy 10-year prison sentence issued yesterday, which is exactly what needs to happen. But I think one of the biggest things that we were trying to grapple with is that amount of money that was being moved so quickly, and the federal government relaxing some of the requirements around it, and then how these things were formed. That's unacceptable. The public has a strong responsibility. We went to court over this several times, continuing to say it doesn't matter where you're coming from. Nobody's being targeted based on race. Nobody's being targeted based on economics or anything like that. You're being targeted if you're committing criminal activities. And I think in the moment that we're in, you're seeing it federally, a massive PPP. You even see members of the House here talking about other members in their PPP loans. We've got to restore trust in the system. And so I will say I hear you on this. I think it's an interesting question. I am not I hear it. I want to reassure Minnesotans. First and foremost, we're tackling the fraud, but this has nothing to do with racial, and we did not pull back off because there were accusations on this. The commissioner was accused of racism. When we asked the courts to stop payments, the courts reinstituted the payments, and a celebration was had about the demise of the education commissioner. We're going to stay in the pace of this. If you're committing fraud, no matter where you come from, what you look like, what you believe, you are going to go to jail.
You don't think Democrats were paralyzed or inhibited based on the politics of that era? You don't think that stood in the way?
Well, I can only speak for our administration. We were not. It's certainly, your question, as I said, is a good one, because it was very clear to us when that 2021 dinner celebration, because they beat the state, and when they say they beat the state, they forced us to repay them again when we had stopped payment. And it turns out that they were committing fraud, and then eventually we sent them there. That was, there was a moment that it was very clear that the accusations against the state, that the state was pursuing these things for racial reasons, we never viewed it that way. We never stopped pursuing it. And whether it was in the legislature or not, I guess that's a question for them to ask.
One of the latest defendants charged, I think just yesterday or today, though, is 2021, 2022. Prosecutors say he claimed he was serving 6,000 meals a day in a town that had half of that
Yeah.
many people, and somebody else was also claiming, to be serving meals in that town. So how do
Yeah, these are people, they should have been caught. And we get.
like that not catch, raise red flags at MDE and get stopped in the moment?
Well, there has been leadership changes across agencies, as you well know. The law was written a certain way to have them put them out, but we're saying, yes, exactly right. I asked last legislative session not just for the authority, which I have now, to stop payments, which we've done. We didn't have that before. But we also asked for some technology around AI to be able to put these out. So I think, as I said, the default position is to try and help people, to try and move the money out. There needs to be balanced against being skeptical on things. We're seeing fake applications come in now. Some, I think, trying to see if they can commit the fraud to make an issue out of it. But these are all things that we're getting better at. And I would say right now, we saw it both from the auditor and we saw it from CMS, that Minnesota's probably taking a more aggressive approach than anybody else. And I am going to balance that with making sure that Minnesota cares for our people in housing, cares for our people in food, cares for our people in some of the health services they get. But these are questions that you can't allow it to happen. And that's what we're stopping. So I can assure you, other governors have dealt with fraud. We dealt with it on a pretty large scale coming out of COVID. My goal is to make sure that in the future, the safeguards are in place, the mechanisms are there, the law is on our side to be able to make sure that we're able to stop it. Yeah.
You address President's post on Friday night.
Yeah.
TPS, maybe the motion, I guess.
Yeah, look, we welcome anybody. The federal prosecutors have been great here on helping us. Our partners have been good on doing this. As we expose this, we turn it to them, they do the prosecutions. It's not helpful where the president went beyond fraud and decided to, again, target an entire community, try and extrapolate from this people who are here legally, fleeing civil war, living in Minnesota. That's not helpful. At the same time, remember, it was this administration that cut our anti-terrorism dollars, our anti-fraud stuff on the federal level. So we welcome support from folks. We welcome, and I will say, the U.S. attorneys here have been incredibly helpful with doing this, but this is the president distracting from his own problems of threatening to kill United States senators for expressing the responsibility of the Constitution. So this is not surprising, it's unhelpful. But what I would say is that if the president wants to help us on the fraud sides of things, if he wants to help us with USDA and other agencies to make sure that they're tightening up, we welcome that. But what he did was simply stirs the pot. It brings up the divisions amongst us, and it doesn't do anything to actually tackle the actual fraud issue, which we would welcome that help.
To follow, I mean, House Republicans put out a letter requesting the U.S. Attorney look into allegations that fraud money is going from terrorist groups.
They should do that.
How do you feel about that letter?
Yeah, they should do that. They did that back before. They did it in 2018, 2017. They did it before. There wasn't a connection. They should find that connection. These are folks that stole it from us. And again, differing from D.C. and corruption, this is fraud against Minnesota. I welcome them to do that. That seems to me to be a simple thing, but I would say here in Minnesota especially, Monday morning quarterbacking after everything is not helpful. These are folks could do your job ahead of time, do these things, do your audit that is due in the House of Representatives, because we have Republican members accusing other Republican members of fraud in a program. So I'm encouraging, if you want to send this letter out, include yourselves in that so that we can find out. So I welcome it. I think it's the right thing to do. I don't know if they'll find the connection. You certainly can't speculate, but what I will tell you is unhelpful is do not paint an entire group of people with that same brush, demonizing them, putting them at risk when there is no proof to do that. But if you want to help us and you want to go after the criminals, and you want to make sure there's no connection or find out where the money went, we welcome that. We'll work with you on that.
All right, I think colleagues in TFL were on record in the Star Tribune this past week raising concerns about you running for a third term and whether it's a good idea. Can you share these with you privately? Are you?
Well, here's what I would share with you. That is a dog bites man story. Imagine that, nervous Democrats. Not surprised, I would say, as someone who has been on the ticket and won 3 statewide elections, someone who has a track record of moving Minnesota into the top in so many categories of working together, I certainly can understand if they're concerned. This is just kind of what you do. It's an election year. But against a backdrop of a federal government that is an absolute train wreck. I think we'll keep the focus on moving Minnesota forward. We'll keep the focus on making life more affordable. We'll keep the focus on welcoming people to Minnesota and the human dignity. And next November, I am quite confident that Minnesotans will give me the opportunity to continue the work we're doing. But I want to make sure I say to Minnesotans again, be careful on the roads, because you're going to be a lot of family going, a lot of folks are driving, a lot of people out there. But I think in a moment where it feels like everything is meant to cause confusion, to cause anxiety, to doom scroll on your phone, we're very, very blessed to take a step back, to understand how lucky we are to live in a state of this type of abundance where neighbors care about neighbors, and get to spend some time together. So happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Happy Thanksgiving to Minnesotans, and enjoy that turkey dinner. Thank you all. Look at this.